How to respond to the JW comment, "We aren't a cult." I generally recommend against using the word cult if you're speaking directly to a JW, and there are a few reasons for this. It's instantly taken as a pejorative and will most likely shut down any ability for the JW to listen to reason. And to be fair, if we start out a conversation by essentially insulting someone, I can't really blame them for not wanting to continue to speak with us. Another reason is that the term cult is poorly understood by the average person, and it conjures up ideas of groups that Thanos themselves out of existence. Add on top of that the fact that the religion has inoculated their members against this accusation by listing only extremely specific criteria that they think proves they aren't a cult. So, how should you address the issue? Perhaps instead of saying, "Yes, you are," try going through a step-by-step breakdown of what makes up a cult and why it is that we view them in a negative way. So first off, ask them, when you think of a cult, why is it such a negative thing? What are the bad things about being in one? You're probably only going to receive 2 points from them that they think makes up a cult and why it's bad. The first one being that they just have one person who's serving as the leader who has absolute control over everything. The second point will probably be that its members can be driven to do something terrible. And to be fair, if those were the only legitimate factors in what makes up a cult, they might be able to make a point. But we all know that doesn't complete the criteria. What you can do is start going back and forth on the points that they bring out, agreeing where you can, and then furthering the conversation by one, introducing other dangerous aspects of cults that are widely recognized by those who study them. Bring out these points and get them to analyze how they would feel if they met another person of another religion that was living under undue influence. The easiest model to assist you with this and to remember is the BITE model from Stephen Hassan. It's incredibly simple, but can be pretty powerful in grouping together the harmful traits of high control groups. I recommend checking out the information he has on his website at freedomofmind.com. What follows now is an outline of the model he provided, along with examples of the tactics that directly apply to JWs. BITE is an acronym that highlights how the cult or high control group maintains control over the lives of its members. The B stands for behavior control, meaning that they can dictate who your friends can be, who you can marry, your clothing style, exploit you financially, force you to attend services to further the indoctrination, instilling obedience and dependency, threaten you with shunning if you were to speak out against the group or leave, require you to submit reports of your activities. The I stands for information control, meaning that they can have a library, an extensive one, of cult-generated propaganda and literature, withhold certain information from its members, distorting information to make things seem better or worse, discouraging access to outside sources of information like TV, books, and former members, keeping members so busy that they don't have time to think and investigate doubts, create an insider-outsider view of those who are members or aren't, having different access to information depending on your level in the group. Leadership gets to decide who needs to know what and when, encouraging spying and tattling on members for any conduct that goes against the rules. The T stands for thought control, so requiring to view the movement and its doctrines as the only truth, instill black and white thinking, having an us versus them viewpoint, using language and words in a way that's specific to the group, encourages you all to think the same, teaches you to push down doubts and to focus on positive things only, rejecting critical thinking, forbidding critical questions about leadership, policy, or doctrine, labeling outside beliefs as evil. The E stands for emotional control, so viewing certain emotions and feelings like they're evil, teaching emotion-stopping techniques to block feelings of anger and doubt, making people feel that their problems are always their own fault and never that of the leadership or the group, promoting feelings of guilt, instilling fear of thinking independently, fear of the outside world, of enemies, of losing your salvation, of being shunned. They will use love bombing to bring you in and keep you in, requiring confessions of your sins, creating fears about what would happen if you left the group, like you can't find happiness anywhere else, or there's never a good reason to leave, and those that do, they're just being seduced by the outside world, or they're being led by some evil force. So to sum up, instead of coming out and saying that JWs are a cult, it might be best to just not use that word, and instead focus on what attributes of any group would be dangerous, particularly if you notice that any group uses a number of these tactics to create and maintain their control. If you can get them to agree that these aspects could be detrimental to someone and might prevent them from realizing the dangers of their own group, then that in itself is a small win. You probably won't wake them up by any means, but you may have planted a seed of doubt that wasn't there before. Hope this helps.